Hello, my fireflies, and welcome back to a fun-filled episode of sorry, I mean the TheCyanFirefly. My obsession with this game is both crushing and all-consuming. Either way, you've come here for a TLDR, and I will give it to you. Before I get started, I'd like to throw a shout-out to Mr. John Combs, aka Scathis from Uber Entertainment, for being incredibly helpful and for answering any questions I had the other night. Seriously, dude, you rock. So, Super Monday Night Combat, the short version. Super Monday Night Combat takes place in an alternative future in which massive corporate giants now effectively run the world. These corporations sponsor a game show known as Super Monday Night Combat, which is effectively a gladiator-style arena battle, with guns and robots, of course, and a chicken. They have chickens. Giant robot chickens. The actual gameplay itself takes the form of any basic MOBA, save for going to the third person, much like Smite. Yes, I'm aware this game came out before Smite, but I played Smite before this game, so sue me. You kill creeps, push lanes, destroy turrets, kill other players, and work to destroy the central enemy structure. We've all seen this before. So what makes this game stand out? Well, what doesn't make it stand out? This game is extremely colorful, witty, and challenging all at once. It has far more content and strategy behind it than I've seen in other games of its ilk. Yes, I make such a bold claim because I feel it really backs it up. The question is, why? Well, first off, you have the third-person perspective. I feel I like this far more than the top-down of other MOBA games. You have the tension of not knowing what's going on behind you, and it focuses the action directly on you and what you can see. It puts you directly into the game, which just feels better. Then you have the depth of the combat system itself. Every character has a set of 3 abilities, 2 different weapons, and the ability to grapple. Then there are the optional hazards that each player can themselves set off. You don't have to fight directly if you don't want to. If there is an enemy pushing your lane really hard, go buy a really tough Fuji bot that can force him back down lane. Then when he gets back to the ejector, just activate it and hurl him off the stage. Or you can just do it yourself with your grapple attack. Of course, you have a much firmer stress on protecting your bot waves, making sure they get down to the enemy turrets, as they are the only thing that permits you to advance along. You can't even attack an enemy turret without bots to back you up, as they do not only draw fire away from you, but they deplete the shield around a turret that makes it impervious to player attacks. Fuji bots are also the only way to make the enemy money ball vulnerable to attack, making them especially valuable. Lastly, you just have the wit and humor of the devs. Throughout the entire match, you have the twin commentary of the hosts of the show.
Ah, there's some smoochy smooch going on down there.
Their constant joking keeps you amused throughout the game, even if you are on the receiving end of a savage beating. They also serve as in-game guides, giving helpful tips to players that are context sensitive. If the game detects you aren't spending skill points, it'll remind you to do so, typically in an amusing fashion. The same goes for bot kills, going for the Annihilator, and making sure to tag Bullseye for extra funds. The game also has a host of other ridiculous things to keep a player amused, such as taunts, costumes, and the occasional wacky pro. All that said, this isn't a perfect game. It's great, don't get me wrong. I love it and I will continue to play it for some time yet, but it is not perfect. What really causes trouble, at least for me, is the in-game store. Now, this is a free-to-play game, as MOBAs typically are. They gain revenue through selling you stylish stuff to deck your characters out. The problem is, this stuff is just really damn expensive. I'd love to support this game more than I already do, but my money doesn't go all that far. I spent $10 on this game and all it managed to get me was the character I wanted and a special taunt for her. Even for a MOBA, this is pricey. To get a full, unique costume, you'd have to spend around $19. And by full, I mean the whole head, torso, and legs, as well as 2 taunts and new weapon skins. Some of the body skins alone are even more expensive than the character itself. I question the developers on this. I'd be far more open to spend more money if my cash just went further than it does. You can also purchase boosts for both experience and in-game currency, which both increase the rate at which you gather both resources. But those are incredibly pricey on their own. I just don't think they are worth the money. They have also added this new object known as treasure balls. You occasionally are awarded one after you finish a game. You have to spend $2.50 on a key to unlock them, which gives you a random item. This is much like the crate system in TF2, which I do not like the implementation of either. I do have to remark on the other aspects of their marketplace. You do gain an in-game currency, as I already stated, which permits you to buy several things you cannot buy with real money. You can get endorsements, which are much like rune pages from League of Legends, and you can get products, which are moderately powerful buffs that give unique effects. These systems are good and work rather well, and I do applaud them for including them. I do not have a problem with them in the least, though I have yet to see the difference between a player with high-level endorsements against somebody with little to none. I guess the only other thing I have to remark on is difficulty and how that relates to its status as a potential esport. I do not think this game will work as an esport. It has far too much going on under the hood for people foreign to the game to get into. There is a lot of stuff that goes on that confuses even some veteran players. There have been games that I have personally played that seemed like sure wins, only for us to be slammed and shut out for seemingly no reason. There are times that a player can just progress faster than you can, and it does not explain why. Speaking of which, the training mode really needs some retooling. There are some things that are glazed over that really need to be impressed on players. The importance of bot kills over player kills is staggering and isn't impressed as much as it should be, and the effectiveness of grappling and rings out is also not brought up as well. All in all, I love this game. It could definitely improve itself, but I've been having a blast playing it, and I hope the rest of you guys do as well. This has been Lyiat with the TheCyanFirefly, and I will see you all next week with even more gaming goodness.